Conrad Sadik.
What can I do for you?
I'm looking to repair my ship.
A ship? Dear me. You seem to have lost the ability to distinguish between reality and fantasy. This is what happens when you let your imagination run wild. I don't approve of fantasizing. It's a dreadful habit, corrosive to the mental faculties. You ought to let the vicar take a look inside your head.
Your vicar?
Vicar Maximilian, our man from the OSI, here to spread the message of scientism like a soothing balm upon a feverish head. Or so you'd expect. You'll find him in our local church, probably neglecting his duties.
I've got some questions for you.
Go ahead.
You seem pretty enthusiastic about this place.
Edgewater has been good to me. I consider myself privileged to work here. I am never wanting for work, not since the plague started.
What plague? What do you know about this plague?
The plague's come at us with a vengeance this year. Lost 6 workers in as many months. I wouldn't call them good workers, mind you. If they were any good, they'd have been treated. Still, it is a shame.
What are the symptoms?
Fever, chills, fatigue, aching, vomiting, an excess of phlegm, a tendency towards belly aching.
Why don't you treat all of your workers?
Company policy, friend. We don't have enough medicine to treat all of us, so we treat the best among us.
Whose idea was that?
Mr. Thompson's brainchild. Have you met him yet? Thoughtful-looking fellow, stares out of his office most hours.
So they only help a certain amount of... Well, they only help the most prestigious people. It's inhumane. Don't see anything else here. Any weapons? Nope. Want to see a dead body?
Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Uh-oh. I'll pay you 118 bits to look the other way. I was just leaving.
Carry on.
Conrad. Receptionist shot himself. This is bad. The company's going to have to call it for what it is. Destruction of Spacer's Choice property. Eugene was an asset and somebody has to pay his body price. This is gonna ruin us. So I was thinking that we pawn off his teeth. Eugene had a full set of gold teeth. Heirlooms passed down his family or something. You're processing his body, right? Just dig around and pry them out. We'll sell the teeth somewhere nice and quiet. Use the bits to pay his body price. And nobody's the wiser. What do you think? Don't write back. In fact, don't talk to me at all. Just give me a special signal next time you see me. Waggle your eyebrows. Phyllis G. Wow. Trying to take some gold teeth and sell them, huh? Not very cool. It's not cool at all. Salt tuna. Edgewater Salt Tuna Canning Facility strictly adheres to Spacer's Choice standards of health and safety. Schedule your sick leave with your Spacer's Choice foreman or supervisor. Be considerate toward other members of the Spacer's Choice family. Allow 2 to 4 weeks to process and approve your scheduled sick leave. Lost hours must be compensated to the company. See Reed if you're having trouble paying for your sick leave. We'll try to arrange wage deductions instead. Remember, work invigorates the spirit. Sickness in the body reflects sickness in the mind and sickness in the character. If you find yourself falling ill, it may be time to schedule a meeting with our local vicar. I don't want to steal nothing. I think they have cameras and stuff.
The grease monkey, Argo?
I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, sir. You asked why it's taking so long to fix. The answer's technical.
Seems we've got a guest. Really now, Parvati, I do wish you'd spoken up. I do apologize. I was given no forewarning of your arrival, or I might have welcomed you at the gates myself.
Are you Reed? I was told I should talk to you.
I'm Reed Thompson, Outpost Administrator. I cannot help but notice you are not in uniform.
Uniform? What are you talking about?
Shirt, pants, work boots, company-approved colors. The, honorable apparel of a loyal worker?
Let's skip the small talk. I've got a ship in need of a power regulator.
Only regulator we got is hooked up to the town transformer. Mr. Thompson ain't liable to be keen on dismantling it.
I beg your pardon. I am most emphatically not keen on any such thing. I can't let you have our power regulator.
Why not?
But I happen to know of another one. And I happen to know exactly how you may retrieve it without frying yourself in the process.
Let me guess. You want me to do something for you, or you help me?
My proposition benefits the both of us. Please, hear me out. There's a power regulator in the old botanical lab. It's mostly abandoned, so all that power is being squandered. Go down to the geothermal plant. Reroute power from the botanical district over to us. Once their power's shut down, you can have their regulator and be along on your way.
You say mostly abandoned. What do you mean?
I was not entirely sure how to tell you this. The botanical labs are not legally inhabited, but there are people who live there.
I don't think these people will take kindly to losing their power.
No, I do not imagine they will be pleased. But like a parent disciplining an unruly child, you will be doing them a kindness. The people living in the botanical labs, they're deserters, former workers. I need them back at their posts. I need them to come home.
If you want me to solve your deserter problem, I charge by the head.
Good law, no, I don't want you killing anyone, least of all them. My hope is that by cutting off their power, you will convince those deserters to come back to town. Before you go to the plant, I want you to stop by the botanical lab. Speak to their leader, Adelaide. Tell her the power's about to go, and that it's time her band of deserters came back to town.
How will I recognize Adelaide?
Adelaide's older than the
Adelaide's?
other deserters. She's dignified.
Adelaide's?
From what I understand, her camp looks to her for leadership.
You're asking me to cut the power to an entire community?
I am asking you to help us survive. Edgewater needs more workers or we will collapse. We belong to one community, the Spacer's Choice family. If we dissolve into factions, then we will all perish separately. Adelaide will understand that.
All right, Reed. I'll see what I can do to help you.
My dad told me all about the plant. Taught me all he knew. I could come in useful. I mean, if that's all right with you, Mr. Thompson. Sir.
I hesitate to part ways with Miss Holcomb, but I cannot deny that she is talented and may prove useful to you. You will need an administrative passcode in order to enter the plant. I am trusting you with mine, and trusting Miss Holcomb to guide you if you'd like.
Sure, I could use the company.
Great! I got my wrenches and diagnosticators and hairpins and engine tape, so I'm all set.
Well, I am glad to hear that. Best of luck to you, and thank you again for your help. It is a lot to ask of a stranger, I know.
CP New Manager Seminar Companions. You've gained a companion. They are characters that join you in your adventures and help you in a variety of ways. Companions provide combat support. Their skills enhance your skills. They increase your carrying capacity. You can unlock special companion combat abilities with an inspiration skill. Learn more about your companions in the Companion Ledger. So we're on our way. Get this power generator from a community of people that are using the generator for power. We're just going to bombard
Hey, Sam,
them and
can we
take.
talk? Sorry. You got a minute? Sorry. You just want to get out of here. And you likely don't want to tag along like me. It's just, Mr. Thompson has his own view on matters, on account of it's his job and what all, but that's not the only side of the tale.
This is about the deserters. So what's the other side of it?
To Mr. Thompson, a person's a gear. It does its job quiet-like. If it squeaks or stutters, it gets replaced. The deserters are decent folk. I knew some of them before they left.
How well did you know the deserters? You worked with them? You were friends, or what?
I don't know anybody well. I mostly listened to them talk, kept my head down. There was a boy named Thomas who used to follow me around, asking questions about the stuff I fixed. He was real sweet to me. Not any sort of dissident.
Do you know this Adelaide Reed mentioned?
Miss McDevitt? Oh, gosh, no. She was a real important person. A flavorist. Made all the food taste decent. She used to work up in the big office with Mr. Thompson. All I know is she left after her son died. It was a real big to-do. I could hear them both yelling clear from my own place.
Can't leave it at that. While we're reading Adelaide arguing.
Can't say as I know. I wasn't there. The sound carried, but not the words. If Mr. Thompson ain't of a mind to tell you his own self, you'd best ask Miss McDevitt. if he can get out to her.
I'm sure the deserters are very fine people. So what?
Mr. Thompson's aiming to take away their power. They'll have no lights to see, nor heat to cook. They'll be at the mercy of marauders, or worse. It don't seem right to me, ma'am. I think you should talk to the town's vicar about it. Max, his name is.
Where would I find him?
The mission's on the east side of town. You can't miss it, on account of it being the only clean thing.
What do we need to talk to the vicar about? Flipping a switch in your power mill?
About if what Mr. Thompson proposes to do is upright. Leaving Miss McDevitt's folk to their fate. They're neighbors. Kin. And maybe he can think of something else to try. Something we ain't. He used to go walking outside town. Maybe he found something that'll help. It's just an idea. That's all.
Suppose it couldn't hurt. We'll stop by.
Thanks, ma'am. I just think when you gotta make a decision that'll hurt somebody, it's best to think on the right and wrong of it. That's what my dad used to say anyways. Here we go! Down we go! Everyone all right? Look out!
Your guts look pretty.
I didn't see that cat move through. Oh, that stinks. I wonder where it's gonna start us. I don't think there was much of an autosave either. Hey, you know what? Before we leave, let's go see what was it, the Vigor?
I'm sorry. I'll just be a minute.
Would that be it, or?
I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
Yes, what is it? You're an outsider. Fantastic. Vicar Maximilian de Soto at your service. Or Vicar Max, if you're the sort who prefers brevity. And Ms. Holcomb as well. How rare to see you out. And with a complete stranger. Curious.
Just tagging along, Vicar DeSoto. Don't mind me.
I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison, anything at all. Spiritual counseling? This season's tossball predictions? The quickest way out of town?
What sort of spiritual advice do you offer here?
They who are not satisfied with their work are satisfied with nothing. No? How about, work fortifies the spirit. True exhaustion awaits idle hands.
I was actually asking what your religion was about.
The OSI teaches that the Grand Architect set a perfect system in motion at the beginning of time. Contentment is found by accepting one's role in that grand plan.
How do you talk to this Grand Architect? Prayer, meditation, or what?
You don't talk to the Grand Architect. Once the universe was set in motion, it stepped back. It has no concern for us.
Doesn't sound like a very motivational religious philosophy. What's there to aspire to?
We will eventually decode the plan and all its intricacies. Once we are able to deduce the properties of every particle in the universe and its trajectory, we will know everything. The future, the past, each person's place within the plan, all will be laid out before us, removing struggle and bringing peace. No one will ever need question their path again. Some even believe this ultimate knowledge will unlock mankind's true potential, and we will all become akin to Grand Architects ourselves, after a fashion.
Really? How does that work? Tell me more.
Well, first there's the matter of the secret blood rites and animal sacrifices. I'm kidding. Seriously, though, to truly understand the metaphysics involved takes years of study and contemplation.
Parvati wanted to talk to you about what Reed asked us to do.
But what? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What has Mr. Thompson asked you to do?
Got power to the deserters. If you can answer quickly, we're in a hurry.
I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk.
What do you think of Adadale's group, Vicar?
They rejected the order of society and live beyond the walls so thoughtfully provided by our Spacer's Choice patrons. Does that strike you as a responsible life choice?
Depends on how well the leader can provide beyond your walls.
Astute. But I am here, not in the deserter camp. So that's not a variable I can account for.
So what do you advise?
Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold.
Right. Just talk everybody into coming together. I'll keep that in mind.
If it were as easy as a few soothing words in the right ears, I'm sure it would have been done already. Consider it a challenge. If you don't mind a bit of unsolicited advice, be cautious on your way to the geothermal plant. It is not as safe as you might assume.
I've been outside. I'm not impressed, and I can handle myself better than a vicar.
The marauders I met when I ventured outside the walls might agree with you. Bastards snuck up on me while I was dutifully hunting for a banned book in a collector's library. Barely escaped with my life. But you see, one of the reasons I transferred here was to get my hands on that heretical text. If you managed to acquire it for me, I'd pay quite a handsome sum for the book.
Why would a vicar be after a banned heretical book?
I just want to keep the writing out of layman's hands. It wouldn't do for such information to fall into public consumption.
Seems to me the authorities would be interested to hear you're after this contraband text.
On the contrary, my position means that I am one of the few legally allowed to possess such items. But do not worry. You'll be safe since you are acting on my behalf.
All very fascinating. Maybe I'll get your book and sell it to someone else. Make a compelling argument.
Glad we see eye to eye. It's a handwritten journal, a faded blue cover with the name M'Bakono handwritten in the lower corner. I'll mark where I saw it on your map. Assuming you're serious?
I'll look for your book for you.
Thank you. If you retrieve it, you can always find me here.
So we're on our way to cut the power. And have a... I don't know what this is. Some kind of church or... asylum?